Earlier this evening, I spoke with Mr. Bismarck Ruwane, a member of the Presidential Economic Advisory Council, and I started by asking him if the removal of subsidy will automatically translate into improved revenue for the country.
People are groaning, things are difficult, but there's hope and there's light at the end of the tunnel. Why do I say this? Subsidies down and revenues up, but the money, the additional revenue we get is not even that we're going to get is not as much. It's not going to deal with all the problems that we have. So we say more money, more problems, right? But what does this mean? What has actually two things have happened. One, the electricity tariff only impacts the rich people. That is, the rich people are paying higher, 75% more, while those who use less than 35 kilowatts are not paying any increase. So the electricity tariff is very progressive and does not affect the ordinary man in any way. Second was the petrol modulation model, which means that it is now tied to the price of crude oil. When the price of crude oil actually declined, we saw a decline to about 123 naira per liter. Now that the price has gone up, increased to about $45 a barrel, we've seen that increase. However, there's a problem. When you look at across West Africa, Nigeria is paying 43 cents a liter compared to 114% less than its neighbors are having. And this actually is an inducement for what I call smuggling. Nigeria has been called a smuggler's paradise as far as this is concerned. Nigeria was using 60 million liters of refined products a day when people are smuggling it in and smuggling it out. So this will partially address this problem, but let us see what's the impact of these things on the government. The government gets its revenue from petroleum profit tax, corporate income tax, VAT, and also from custom duty. But on the other hand, it spends on debt service, salaries, that is personnel, overhead, and subsidies. If you take away subsidies, you actually reduce the amount of money that the government spent. And even though subsidies were not in the budget of 2020, the deficit, if we pay subsidies, which is unaffordable and unsustainable, we will increase our deficit and we have to go borrowing. Inflation is increasing, unemployment is increasing. However, what we say, no gain, no pain, no gain. We have to deal with this problem once and for all. And when you do this, the GDP of this country is about $420 billion. One of the biggest part of it is consumption. But consumption drives investment. However, as long as you control prices, investors will not come into these sectors. So if you deregulate the price, then people will invest. Dangote is already investing heavily in this sector, becoming the refining hub for the whole of West Africa. If you increase investment, the linkage effect, the multiplier effect of investment has a multiplier effect, and linkages on the what I can call the other sectors will drag it along. And this will help to deal with unemployment, deal with total factor productivity, and actually put the economy on a path of sustainable growth. Right now, we don't have that. And so this is one of the painful but difficult decisions that we have to make so that we will be aligned with the rest of the world like we did in, in the telecoms. If the central bank releases more money in the foreign exchange market, factories will start producing, employment will start, and then because of the increase in output, the kind of slow increase in money supply, you'll find that inflation starts to decline. Our projection is that inflation begins to decline in the year 2021 into 2022, which will coincide with an increase in growth. So the pandemic is not an excuse for where we are, because Nigeria's structural defects were in existence. In other words, we had pre-existing conditions, right? Structural defects in Nigeria before the pandemic only made things worse. So the opportunity now is that the economists are advising the government to say, look, you use this opportunity to deal with the structural problems as well as dealing with the operational problems. And the outlook, the important thing is the outlook tomorrow and in the future. Right now, inflation will increase naturally to about 13%, but productivity will also increase. So the increase in productivity will probably outweigh the increase in inflation. One. Two, disposable income will drop by about 3%, which means about $12 billion in the short run. In the long run, disposable income will increase as productivity increases. Then the external reserves will drop because the central bank is going to have to release money to keep the factories going. But luckily, we had projected in the revised budget, we used a price of $28 a barrel. Today, we are at $41 a barrel. So the revenue picture is not as bad as it was in the second quarter. So the government has been very conservative and prudent, but then as we get more cash flow, the government will be able to deal with those key things that will have an impact on the people. Finally, we think that the World Bank and others will disburse monies under the power sector reform, and that will drive other things and make us more creditworthy, more productive, and definitely 2021 will be a better year than 2020 when we have taken all the hard decisions. We made some hard decisions, and the impact will be felt in the future.
We certainly hope so. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Rewani.
Thank you for having me.